Look at the sheer scale of domestic farmland across sub-Saharan Africa. Now look at the volume of foreign food arriving at its ports daily. This chart shows the region's current economic baseline. You can see right here that agriculture makes up about 23% of sub-Saharan Africa's total GDP, and it employs more than 60% of the entire workforce. Yet, despite having the vast majority of its population working in agriculture, the region spends over $40 billion every single year importing food from outside its borders. And if we project that current trajectory forward, that annual import deficit is on track to eclipse $110 billion by 2030. That massive outflow of capital happens because the current supply chain exports raw, unrefined crops at low wholesale prices, and then forces these nations to buy back the heavily marked up processed food products. The issue isn't an inability to grow crops. The system is simply missing the industrial infrastructure in the middle of the supply chain required to process, store, and transport that harvest locally. To build that missing infrastructure, governments and institutional investors are converging on the Kigali Convention Center for the AFS Forum in March 2026. This summit is a strategic platform focused on scaling Africa's agri-food systems and investment pipelines. This 2026 gathering is engineered as a strict deal-making environment, directly matching institutional capital with scalable agribusiness operators. This schematic maps out exactly where that capital needs to go. We have raw materials successfully leaving the farm node, but they immediately hit these three underdeveloped segments of the value chain. The first intervention requires funding large-scale agro-processing facilities. This allows raw harvests to be converted into packaged, high-value consumer products right where they are grown. The second target is cold chain and storage infrastructure. Maintaining strict temperature control prevents the massive post-harvest rot that currently destroys crops before they ever reach a market. The third target is establishing regional logistics networks. Instead of defaulting to overseas export, these distribution channels are built to move food efficiently between neighboring African nations. By funding these three specific infrastructure pillars, processing, storage, and logistics, these economies can finally capture the value of their harvests and retain that wealth within their own borders. Fixing a broken supply chain of this magnitude requires moving away from small, fragmented local projects. It demands systemic, cross-border agricultural integration. We can see this shift happening right now with the formation of the Asia-Africa Agri-Alliance. This alliance is a newly established international partnership built to facilitate large-scale trade, share agricultural technology, and direct investment flows between the two continents. Simultaneously, policy discussions in North Africa are increasingly focused on creating dedicated investment vehicles. These specialized financial structures are being built specifically to back these supply chain expansions across multiple regions. These regional policy shifts and international alliances indicate a move toward a more structured institutional framework for agricultural trade across the continent. For decades, global markets viewed African farming as a social sector, characterized by arduous manual labor in unimproved fields. That model is being replaced. The industry is moving toward a capital-intensive, technology-enabled economic platform. Operating in this modern era requires a new baseline: deployable institutional capital, bankable large-scale projects, and strict public-private execution frameworks to get physical facilities built. The March 2026 summit marks a period where agricultural growth is driven by these commercial frameworks. This transition into a capital-heavy industry positions the continent's food systems as a primary investment frontier for the coming decade.